The unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex as a triumph of one or more groups in our society at the expense of another. It is not.
In a landmark decision that has sparked debate across the United Kingdom, the country's Supreme Court ruled on Wednesday that under the law, the term woman refers exclusively to someone born biologically female. This ruling excludes transgender women from the legal definition of woman in the context of the 2010 Equality Act, which is a law designed to protect individuals from discrimination based on sex, race, religion, and other traits. The ruling has drawn both praise and criticism. Feminist groups who advocate for protections based on biological sex welcomed the decision as a necessary clarification. However, LGBTQ+ and trans rights activists expressed deep disappointment, voicing concerns about the long-term consequences for transgender individuals in the UK. The legal challenge was brought by the group for Women Scotland, which objected to a 2018 Scottish Parliament law aiming to ensure a 50-50 gender balance on public boards. The law included trans women, that is, individuals assigned male at birth who have transitioned and hold a gender recognition certificate, that's the GRC, within the definition of woman. The group argued that by doing so, the Scottish government had gone beyond its powers by essentially altering a definition laid out in UK-wide legislation, which is the Equality Act 2010. After losing a 2022 case in Scottish courts, For Women Scotland took the case to the Supreme Court, which heard arguments in November.
Today, the judges have said what we always believed to be the case, that women are protected by their biological sex, that sex is real, and that women can now feel safe that services and spaces designated for women are for women, and we are enormously grateful to the Supreme Court for this ruling. This is not about prejudice or bigotry, as some people would say. It's not about hatred for another community. It's just about saying that there are differences, and biology is one of those differences, and we just need protections based on that. And I think that, we are more than happy for safe services and spaces to be provided for other groups of people depending on their needs, but we have to recognise that different people need different things.
It's better than we actually thought it could have been. The real fear is if we would have lost and it had to go back to Parliament to sort it out, it would have been a long, dragged out, horrible battle, but this is quite literally the icing on the cake. It defines once and for all in law what a woman is, and that's something many of us. For Women Scotland has been fighting for 7 years. I've been fighting for 5, so amazing. I am over the moon.
Delivering the judgment, Justice Patrick Hodge stated that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act were intended to refer to biological sex and not gender identity. The panel of 5 judges unanimously agreed. The words sex, woman, and man were always intended to mean biological sex, biological woman, and biological man, according to the judgment. It added that broadening the definition to include trans individuals would render the Equality Act incoherent and unworkable. The court also emphasized that shared biology is central to the discrimination and disadvantages experienced by women, and that legislation should focus on protecting these clearly defined groups. The decision could have widespread consequences. While the Equality Act already allowed for the exclusion of trans women from certain single-sex specs, such as women's shelters or prisons, the Supreme Court's ruling may take it easier for such exclusions to occur. Additionally, the decision could affect transgender athletes, especially in women's and girls' sports, and may influence workplace policies and hiring practices. However, much depends on how the ruling is interpreted and enforced going forward. One notable omission in the ruling was any mention of intersex individuals who also fall outside binary biological definitions and currently lack explicit protections under the Equality Act. For now, the ruling stands as a major legal milestone in the United Kingdom, reigniting debates over sex, gender, and the rights of trans people, and setting a legal precedent that will influence future legislation, policy, and public discourse.